in 1699. Later, the French capital would shift eastward to Mobile in 1702, then finally westward to New Orleans in 1718. The Mississippi Territory became an official part of the new United States in 1798, after a brief revolt of coastal citizens under the Republic of West Florida. Mississippi became a state on December 10, 1817, becoming the 20th state of the new country. On the Mississippi Gulf Coast, a rich ethnic blending created a unique culture different from the planter hegemony that had begun to dominate the hinterland and Mississippi River regions of the state. On the coast and in Biloxi, Spanish, French, English, Irish, African, and Native American peoples exchanged goods through a growing shipbuilding industry. One economic endeavor that early defined Biloxi was the tourist trade that resulted in its growth, so much so that officials charted the city in 1838. As early as the 1840s, the Magnolia Hotel welcomed visitors mostly from New Orleans. The city became a destination of people fleeing the heat of that city and the yellow fever pestilence that threatened the health of the entire Southland. Biloxi was known for its salubrious climate and hospitality services. Many summer homes appeared on the Mississippi Sound shoreline as people spent their summers taking in the Gulf breezes, enjoying fresh seafood and the social events of the coast. With a new lighthouse in 1848 guiding ships to Biloxi, the city grew. In April 1861, the American Civil War opened with a volley of cannon shot from the Confederate States of America on Fort Sumter, South Carolina. The Mississippi coast became embroiled in the four-year conflict, first because the United States government instituted a naval blockade of all coastal regions of the South, and secondly because Ship Island again became an important harbor. The Union forces planned to launch attacks against Pascagoula, Pass Christian, Biloxi, and ultimately New Orleans from its forces stationed at Ship Island. When the American Civil War ended in 1865, the Mississippi coast and Biloxi did not have the physical damage that other areas of the state endured. The tourist trade recovered quickly as Southerners sought normalcy. The Lewis and Nashville Railroad connected New Orleans and Mobile with Biloxi in 1872. Biloxi again capitalized on its maritime and tourist trade. Biloxi entrepreneurs Lazaro Lopez, William K.M. Ducate, James Maycock, William Garnflow, and F.W. Elmer created the first seafood processing factory in Biloxi in 1881. Capitalizing on the abundant oyster beds and shrimp in the Mississippi Sound. Beautiful white-winged Biloxi schooners harvested the bountiful seafood of the Sound. The Biloxi schooner became synonymous with success. Several waves of laborers joined the local citizens in harvesting seafood as the industry expanded to meet the demand for succulent oysters and shrimp. Bohemians or Polish workers from Baltimore, Maryland, familiar with the oyster industry, first manned the labor lines, with Louisiana Cajuns and Croatians soon following. Biloxi African-American workers often worked side by side with the other pickers and shuckers, but in some factories they worked on separate lines because of racial prejudices of the times. By the early 1900s, Biloxi was known as the seafood capital of the world. Through the decades, the industry ebbed and flowed with the economy. By the 1970s, Vietnamese immigrants arrived in Biloxi from their war-torn land. Working in the seafood factories and building boats, the Vietnamese became a part of the cultural fabric of the city. Today, many events highlight all of the immigrants' contributions to Biloxi venues, food, and entertainment. A visitor can enjoy good Cajun gumbo, witness a Vietnamese New Year celebration, eat pucheradas or fried plantains with cream, or attend a fado do, all part of the rich offerings of Biloxi. As the seafood industry developed throughout the 20th century, so did the shipbuilding aspect of the seafood trade. Biloxi schooners once graced the waters, while family names such as Kovacevic, Ross, and Fountain became famous with the art of boat building. As technology overcame sail power, Biloxi luggers with their low riding profile and gasoline engines soon replaced the schooner. Along with new technologies in shipbuilding, Biloxi also witnessed the growth of Keesler Air Force Base in early 1941. On donated land from the city, the United States Army created a technical training school named after Second Lieutenant Samuel R. Keesler, Jr., a Mississippi. Each of the gambling establishments, progress has been phenomenal. The Biloxi Public School District has invested $80 million in new schools and upgrades in the past 15 years. The Washington Post highlighted the outstanding curriculum offered by the school district when it declared that Biloxi High School was a top school in preparing students for college. The rebuilding effort after Hurricane Katrina also witnessed the construction of a new Biloxi Visitor Center.